I'm a counselor and a psychotherapist. I work with a lot of couples, boyfriends, girlfriends, husbands and wives. And one of my favorite topics to work with is travel. So I want to share with you the number one complaint I hear from women in my practice about traveling with the men in their lives. And I will share a simple way to keep that dynamic out of your next holiday. We're counting down to the holiday season. The Christmas trees are up, the Christmas carols have started to play, and folks are really paying attention to where they're going to be at the end of the year. And the topic of travel has come up in my practice. Honestly, it's one of my favorite subjects. Travel has so much potential to change us as individuals, and travel has an amazing opportunity to change us in our relationship and transform our relationship as we learn something new about ourselves and something new about our partner, and together create something completely new in the process. But as you no doubt know, travel can be a bit of a stress test, a pressure cooker for our relationship skills. So what is it that women complain about when it comes to the men in their lives on travel? Well, it's pretty simple, and you might have heard a variation of this, and it might sound a little bit familiar. It goes, Eva, my partner is a micromanager. He's running this holiday like we're in the military. There's no spare time. I did not have time to go browse the markets. He didn't allocate time for us to go look for some souvenirs. I felt rushed at the art gallery. That's option one. But option two is probably the most common. And option two goes like this. It's the opposite. My partner seems so disengaged. Every time I ask them for an opinion or a thought or an idea, they just told me, whatever you want, babe. You take the decision. I'm happy with anything. You make the plan. Neither of these is going to work out well. It's going to lead to an unbalanced holiday. In some ways, it's not so surprising we find ourselves in this situation. If it's happened to you, you're absolutely not alone. Men generally, often, tend towards black and white, all or nothing thinking. It can be so easy for us to feel, it's her holiday. She enjoys making the plans. Or, I need to step up to the plate and control everything here as much as I can. That might be natural, but it doesn't work out in the long run for the holiday. And it goes a little bit something like this. A holiday that is too planned, too rigid, research shows actually decreases relationship happiness and relationship satisfaction upon return. It's not really a whole lot of surprise in that. We need a bit of spontaneity for that magic to happen. But on the other hand, well, if we're leaving our partner to do all the planning and all the decision making, things will be, frankly, stressful for them. There's something called invisible load. Long story short, research shows that women in general do about 70% of the travel planning, all things considered equal, even if both partners are working full time. There's a lot of mental strain, it's a bit of mental burden. And every time you say, whatever babe, we'll just wing it, or that's cool, whatever you decide, you're adding to her mental burden. And that will, well, lead to an unbalanced outcome on the holiday. And you don't need that kind of a disaster. So if we're trying to avoid an overscheduled, overplanned holiday, but on the other hand, we don't want to be a military drill master, how do we strike a balance between the two? And the answer can be fun and easy. You can think of it as 3 buckets or 3 hats, and each person in the relationship has to put something into a bucket. The first bucket is have to have items, things that will make this trip worthwhile for you and worthwhile to your partner. If it's the same item, good for you, but very likely there'll be 2 different things. The next bucket, or the next hat to throw something into is things that you'd like to see happen, things which aren't mission critical, but would be really great if they could happen. Maybe things that are a bit more up to chance, like seeing the full moon if the sky is clear, or catching a sunset, whatever the case might be. Weather-dependent things, things that could be seasonal, something that may or may not happen. Last bucket, and very importantly, is a place for spontaneity, giving 30 to 40% of the time to the happy adventures or misadventures, the surprises, the happenstances that make travel worthwhile and magical in the beginning. And the trick is not just to make a decision about what goes in the bucket, but then follow up and proactively research your items that you put in the bucket. That doesn't mean just a quick Google search, but it means maybe looking at what are the reviews of the restaurant you picked? It could mean maybe looking at the map and figuring out the walking time from the restaurant to the bar to the beach and making an itinerary that will bring you there in time for sunset. And you'll, of course, get bonus points if you actually know when sunset happens and you don't miss it. But doing these little things, it's not just driving the holiday to be more efficient. It's showing a commitment to the holiday and by extension, a commitment to your relationship and a commitment to your partner. And that will shine throughout the trip. And the more joint planning there is, dysfunctions, malfunctions, disconnects, accidents, and sort of unhappy surprises are more likely to be seen as a shared challenge faced together rather than the failing of one person to go with the flow, make a plan B, or they decided wrong. I'm sure you've seen these kind of arguments happen before. The most important thing is that the best holiday for you is not one that is perfectly spontaneous, and it's also not going to be one that's perfectly planned. Everyone is different. Each person brings a different travel preference to their holiday, and no two relationships are exactly the same. So I hope this is helpful as you look forward to the festive season. Stay tuned for more practical psychology tips to help you and your partner have the better conversations, for the better connection, to have the better adventures the next time you travel.